West Virginia State Prison, 3 weeks after the trial. Cold, gray prison walls, dim light seeping through the bars, the metallic echo of locks clashing, distant shouts of inmates in the corridor. Mike Harper sits on the iron bed. His beard is trimmed shorter now, his eyes tired but still burning with anger. On the small metal desk, a crumpled piece of paper and a half-broken pen lie scattered. Mike writes slowly, as if the words are for his lawyer, or maybe for no one at all. His thoughts spill with rage and despair. I'm not the killer. Why won't anyone believe me? Why is everyone else sleeping peacefully while I rot in here? The memory strikes again. Michael, before his death, whispering, "If I'm ever gone, watch my doctor. I don't trust him." Mike replays those words in his head over and over. He knows if he told anyone, they'd dismiss it as paranoia. The heavy door creaks open. A guard calls his name. "Harper, you've got a visitor." Mike lifts his head. His eyes flicker, caught between hope and fear. Prison, visiting room, afternoon. A thick glass wall and metal telephones separate the prisoner from the visitor. The background hum of voices and the clattering of phones fill the room. Sunlight seeps through the high windows, casting shadows across Mike's face. Mike sits on a metal chair, his hands cuffed. His expression is weary but defiant. Rick, Jack's old friend and former partner, sits on the other side of the glass. He hesitates before picking up the phone, his eyes filled with doubt.
Mike, honestly, I'm not sure you're the killer, but I don't know how I can prove it.
I'm innocent, Rick. Michelle, he wasn't well. He saw his doctor a lot. Always said his doctor was the only one who could calm him down.
Are you saying I should look into that doctor?
All I know is Michelle told me before he died. Watch his doctor. That's it.
Moment of silence. Rick stares into Mike's eyes. For the first time, he senses there's a hidden truth behind that exhausted, desperate look. A guard shouts loudly, "Time's up!" Rick slowly sets the phone down, but his gaze remains locked on Mike. In his expression, something flickers, caught between suspicion and a decision. Clark County Police Department, Jack Mercer's office. Late afternoon. The fading sunset filters through the narrow office window. Jack's desk is cluttered with stacked folders, Michelle's murder file, scattered photos, and forensic reports. The stale smell of old coffee and cigarette smoke lingers in the air. Jack sits behind his desk, jacket off, sleeves of his white shirt rolled up, jotting notes into the case file with a pen. His eyes are tired, but his mind is still working. The door opens. Rick walks in, his steps firm but his gaze uneasy. Without a word, he drops into the chair across from Jack.
So, you came here to tell me it's all clear and the case is closed too?
No, Jack. I don't think Mike is the killer.
Rick, you're new here. I can't just trust your gut.
Jack, you're wrong. This isn't just a gut feeling. I talked to Mike. He swore he's innocent, said Michelle wasn't doing well mentally, that she kept seeing her doctor. His words felt real, not the kind of lies I've heard before.
Jack places his pen down on the desk. A long pause. Then he exhales slowly. Jack. He doesn't answer, just stares at the window, lost in thought.
I know you think this case is closed, but something in this puzzle just doesn't fit.
Jack rises from his chair, walks to the window, and stares outside. The glow of sunset reflects across his face. He says nothing to Rick, but in his eyes, a flicker of doubt appears. Quiet city streets. Night. The night air is slightly cold. Yellow streetlights cast dim reflections on the wet asphalt. A heavy silence fills the alleys. Only the sound of Jack Mercer's footsteps on the wet ground is heard. His hands are buried in his coat pockets, his head slightly down. Jack walks slowly. Every now and then, he brings a cigarette to his lips and exhales smoke into the air. His gaze seems empty, but his mind is full of voices. Rick's voice in his head. Jack, Mike isn't the killer. Then Mike's voice. Michelle wasn't well. She kept going to the doctor. Jack slows down, stops, and stares at a point ahead. Michelle's image flashes before his eyes, a smile in an old photo, then her lifeless body on the morgue table. Jack starts walking again, but this time he lifts his head. The cigarette smoke blurs in front of his face. It's as if something in his mind is tangled and won't unravel. His brows are furrowed as if he's silently asking himself, if Mike isn't the killer, then who was? Jack walking calmly down the dark alley. The street lights fade behind him, and the sound of his footsteps merges with the distant ticking of a traffic light. Police station. Next morning, morning sunlight filters through the curtained windows of the station. On Rick's desk, several open files and scattered notes lie in disarray. The room still carries the scent of freshly brewed coffee. Rick sits behind his desk, reviewing interrogation reports. The sound of heavy footsteps echoes in the nearby hallway. The door opens, and Jack Mercer enters.
Rick, gather every medical record, hospital file, and treatment history on Michelle.
Medical records? Jack, are you sure? This is a murder case, not about the victim's mental health.
I thought about it last night. Something doesn't add up. Michelle saw her doctor multiple times. If we want to know whether Mike's telling the truth, we have to start there.
You mean you're going after her doctor?
Yeah, I want to talk to him myself.
Jack flips through a half-open file on Rick's desk, then heads toward the door without waiting for a reply. Rick watches him for a moment, frozen. Police department. Jack's office. Noon Jack's desk is cluttered with old case files and medical records. Soft daylight filters through the office window. The silence is broken only by the sound of pages turning. Jack flips carefully through the documents. His eyes land on a page. Name, Dr. Richard Hallstrom. Phone number. He pauses for a moment, then picks up the phone and dials. A few rings.
Yes, this is Dr. Hallstrom's office.
This is Detective Jack Mercer, Clark County Police Department. I'm calling regarding one of your patients, Michael Thompson. Unfortunately, he was recently killed in an incident.
Yes, Mr. Thompson. That's terrible news. He was under my care for some time.
I need to know more. What kind of condition did he suffer from? Any particular mental health issues?
Mr. Thompson struggled for years with severe anxiety and depression. Occasionally, he experienced mild hallucinations, but I can't disclose everything. Patient confidentiality applies.
This is a homicide case. Anything that might help is crucial. I just need to know, was he ever unstable enough to pose a danger to himself or others?
No, Michael wasn't dangerous. He was more a victim of his own struggles. Honestly, I don't believe you'll find anything in his medical file that connects to his death.
Jack leans back in his chair, jotting down notes, his expression filled with doubt and thought. The doctor's voice continues faintly through the phone as Jack tries to process what he's hearing, uncertain of what exactly he should be looking for. Dr. Hallstrom's office. Late afternoon, The doctor's office is located in an old, quiet building. The walls are decorated with simple art pieces, and a tall bookshelf filled with thick psychology volumes dominates one side. The faint aroma of coffee lingers in the air. Jack enters the room. Dr. Hallstrom, a man in his early 50s with graying hair and silver-framed glasses, rises from behind his desk and greets him with a calm handshake.
Detective Mercer, welcome. I've heard you're working on Michael's case. Such a tragic loss.
Yes. His death raises too many questions. I want to know more about his mental state and behavior.
Michael. He was intelligent, but fragile. He lived most of his life with a sense of distrust. He always felt like someone was following him.
You mean delusions?
Not necessarily. I'd call it more of a hidden fear. Nothing extraordinary, but for him, it was tormenting.
When was the last time you saw him?
2 weeks ago. I was supposed to adjust his medication. He seemed a little better. There were no signs of violent behavior.
Jack takes notes, but his eyes linger on the doctor's hands. Hallstrom keeps spinning his pen between his fingers as if trying to hide something behind the gesture. Jack, firmly. You know, Doctor, anything that could help us matters, even the smallest detail, Dr. Hallstrom. With a faint smile, though his gaze turns cold. Detective, sometimes a patient's past is more important than their present, but believe me, Michael was a victim, nothing more. Jack's office, after meeting the doctor afternoon. Light filters through the small windows of Jack's office. He sits behind his cluttered desk, papers, notes, and medical files scattered in front of him. His mind is still tangled in the recent conversation with the doctor. Jack slowly arranges the doctor's patient list on the desk, scanning through names, dates, and diagnoses. He reads each entry carefully, cross-checking them with his own notes. Then, something unusual catches his eye: the frequency of the doctor's sessions. Most patients show routine appointments, once a week, sometimes less. But Michael Thompson has been meeting the doctor several times in recent weeks. Stranger still, another name keeps surfacing alongside him. Jack frowns, leaning closer. Mike Harper? He scribbles in his notebook, multiple meetings right before the death. More than usual. And at the train station, Jack's expression hardens, his focus sharpening. His mind starts to piece things together. Why would Mike be meeting with Michael so often? And why at a train station? That doesn't fit. He steps back from the desk, hand pressed against his chin, murmuring under his breath, "There's something here I'm not seeing, not yet." With a sudden resolve, Jack grips the file tightly, determination in his eyes. Tomorrow, he will head to the train station and dig into those mysterious meetings. Clark County Police Department noon light filters through the small window, reflecting off Jack's desk. He sits behind it, weary from answering tedious questions, searching for a lead about the train station and July 3rd. An old train archive folder lies open before him. The soft rustle of pages is the only sound, accompanied by the faint whisper of wind through the window. Jack slowly flips through the passenger lists, scrutinizing each name. At first, it's just routine checking, but then he reaches a page with seat numbers and ticket details. He frowns, muttering under his breath, "This doesn't add up." He examines the notebook again, comparing the missing passenger's details with Mike's information. Police report, a man around 35, thin, wearing a gray coat. Mike's details, about the same age but a different build and different clothing. Jack rests his hand on his chin, staring at the pages. Then he picks up a pen and starts making careful notes in the notebook, marking lines with precision. He exhales, leaning back in his chair and looking at the ceiling. A dangerous possibility begins to form in his mind. Could the missing passenger really not have been Mike? Then who was he? Jack flips through the list again, his eyes scanning the names, his mind slowly searching for patterns, for clues he may have overlooked until now. He whispers to himself, "Something's off. Something that's thrown everyone off." After a moment of silence, he closes the notebook and murmurs, "I need to dig deeper, find every piece of evidence that could reveal the truth." Police station and the start of field investigation. Late afternoon. Jack gathers his notebook and the archive folder, preparing to head to the train station. The dim evening light filters through the police station windows, casting long shadows across his desk. As he walks toward the station, he paces slowly, thinking to himself, if Mike wasn't the missing passenger, then why did all these clues point to him? At the station, Jack speaks with the clerk in charge of passenger ticket records and arrivals and departures. He carefully cross-references seat numbers and dates and notices a strange detail. An unknown man, bearing a striking resemblance to the missing passenger, entered just minutes before the train departed, and there's no other record of him. Jack gives a wry, bitter smile and grips his notebook tightly. So it all started with just one clerical mistake. But who was this man, and why is there no trace of him? He decides to speak with station staff and train witnesses the next day, determined to reconstruct an accurate picture of the real passenger. Pausing for a moment, his hand resting on the station railing, he watches the trains pass one by one. His mind swirls with questions and possibilities. The distant whistle of a departing train reminds him of urgency and time slipping away. Every clue matters, even the smallest one.
Don't forget to follow and subscribe to The Bloody Clue. Stay tuned for more mysterious stories. With me, Detective Jack Mercer.